Hey friends, what's up? Okay, so I want to talk about my favorite tool, which is the straight razor. This one's pretty old. It's something that has no guard on the blade. It's just a straight bam, just like really hardcore. Very, very sharp. Cut your fingers off, it's kind of sharp. The other type of razor is the guarded razor. As you can see, it has a lot of teeth on it. This isn't gonna hurt me. It's not gonna cut me at all. What that means though is when you're tugging on the hair to cut, you have a drag and a pull. So it's gonna make the ends do that razored kind of vibe to it, but it's gonna tug a little bit more and it's not quite as intentional. A lot of my girls at the salon use this. It's good if you're starting out or whatever, but if you want to like get creative and really look like an artist, because I think a razor cut is purely art, it's gorgeous, but it also looks like art while you're creating your looks. So I say if you're going to use a guarded razor, get comfortable with this guy because this one is almost the same as this guy. So you want to do a side-by-side comparison. You can really understand what the difference is on the hair is going to look like. No guard means everything you do is going to be very slow, very intentional. It's literally like sculpting. Whereas when you use something like this, you aren't afraid you're going to hurt yourself with this because this can't hurt you. It's not going to cut your skin or anything, which means you can move a little faster. But there's a little less intention when you cut with this. It takes some time to understand how to use this and how the hand motion and getting comfortable and how you hold it and what direction your hands go. And then you have a comb in your hand, maybe some clips, and you have to open and close it so you don't hurt yourself or your client, cut an ear off, something like that. So I always recommend if you want this to be your end goal, maybe start with something like this if you're a little clumsy. A lot of us hairdressers get a little ADD, we move a little too fast. So it's something to kind of get comfortable with the hand control and all of that. The straight razor is pretty dangerous. I've given many classes and every time somebody always cuts their finger. You can be doing this for 10, 20 years and still cut your finger. So this is going to be something that takes a little bit more control. And I want to show you how to use this because it looks beautiful when we open it, when we get in there and we're carving the hair and we're creating these beautiful looks. But a lot of people don't even know where to start. So I'm going to show you how they come. They come in a beautiful box like this. So this is the brand. They're about $99. I like to go through Sheer Worlds. They have the full collection and then the replacement blades look like this. So this is something you can buy as a single for maybe 12 bucks, I don't know. But the bigger box, you spend 100 bucks and you get 10 of these and each of these have, I believe, 20 blades in them. So I'm gonna show you how to load this bad boy up. So when you get this, there's no blade in it. So you have to figure out how to use it correctly and how not to cut yourself while putting the blade in. The blades look like this. So they're really sharp. Now I just took this one out of my active razor and on the top, just a little pop it out. I already have some in here. Make sure you put it in the same direction as everything else. That way when you dispose of it, it's safe because these are so dangerous. On this guy, there's a little push, pull it out, pull out your razor, get your straight blade. There's a little arrow on there. So the whole side is the bottom side and that here, we have a little hole and we're gonna slide this in. And this one's a brand new one, so this one's a little stiffer. You just kind of take it and you push as far as you can The thing is, you don't want to use your finger here because the end of that straight blade is pretty sharp. So you can take the end of your box and kind of push it down until it's flush all the way, and it's all ready to go. Now with the other style, with the guarded razor, very similar, almost the same concept, except for this blade is guarded. So you can use your traditional style blades, the styling blade by the feather razors. Again, this one you just kind of slide it through, just as if you would be, if you have used this guy before. To make sure that every cut I do is very intentional, so in a month, it looks great, but in 5 months, it can still look great. A bad haircut with a razor can do a lot of damage if you don't know what you're doing, and you can't just jump in there and just start like cutting away, because that's like not gonna work. It'll just be all frayed and funky. And learning how to use the straight blade is a little bit more like ergonomically. You have to like do yoga poses basically, because your arms are doing this and they're doing this, and it's not just like cut, cut, cut with a scissor. So how you execute the haircut is quite a bit different. You can't speed cut with a razor, and a lot of these really beautiful shapes are created with a razor. The super cute shag, super popular right now, to me is best cut with a razor. I think it has the best look. You can take a lot of weight out of the haircut at the same time as taking the length. Now, it does take some years to master the straight blade. I have been cutting this with this style for about 15 years. So I've really kind of understand the body positioning, the sectioning, where to execute my blade, how to get my motion going correctly, because you don't push it, where if you were to use the guarded razor, you could almost push through the hair because it has these claws that grip on it that make it cut really fast, but it doesn't have the intention behind it. And if you follow me, you'll understand that everything to me is about intention. I've mastered the art of hairstyling and hair cutting. So for me, I want to know what it's going to look like before I get my fingers in it. I want to make sure I have that full consultation. How short, how long, how much texture, how much weight. Zoning my eye in to really identify how to do that. So when you're working with a straight blade, first you have to learn how to hold it. And if you notice, I am using 3 fingers. I'm not using the back 2 here, just using the first 3. And I want to anchor this down. So when I actually cut, when I'm holding, I make everybody do this when we learn. You want to make sure that if you jiggle your hand, it's not going to fly out and literally hurt somebody, because it's very possible, if you don't have a good grip on your razor and you're trying to comb the hair, something's going to happen. Maybe the hair gets cut, maybe your finger gets cut, maybe the client gets cut. We want to stay away from the danger zones. So learning how to get a good grip when you're maybe in your sectioning zone, you're touching the hair, where I can move my hand every direction. It's not gonna fly out. It's super strong. Getting that muscle memory, it takes a little getting used to in the beginning. And in the beginning, everybody has a hard time because they're like, I don't know what to do. Okay, totally normal. So we take our razor, we open it, get a nice firm hold, anchor that down. And then when I go to cut, I move it. So I'm using the first 3 fingers again, but my thumb is anchored on the bottom. My index finger's on the top, and my middle finger is secondary behind my index finger. And the little hook is in the middle of my middle finger and my ring finger. So that's where it kind of lives. You're gonna kind of come through, you're gonna hold the comb, and you're gonna get really comfortable with multitasking with all the instruments and the hair in your hand. But when you come to cut, you kind of set your motion like this, because we normally cut either this direction, or like this, or like this, or like this. So being able to hold on really well is gonna be what you need to do. When we're cutting the hair and we're sectioning the hair, we need to make sure that everything is not overwhelmed. Maybe we have a clip, maybe we have a comb. Maybe we're about to section and we need to have the clip, the comb, and the razor and the hair all in our hand at the same time. So having a lot of confidence in holding the razor. I never open my blade while I'm sectioning. I always close my blade. I open my blade, I cut, I comb, I cut, I close my blade, I resection. It's a liability if you're not cautious. It takes years to get it down really well. So until you've got that comfortability really well, I just don't recommend you just like going for it. Play with it first, get your hand moving, get your motions going. So when I go to open it, and then I need to hold my comb, now you can see why that ninja grip on this finger is so important. This is one thing that most people just can't get in the beginning of learning. When I do my class, I do the first 15 minutes is just holding it, opening and closing it, holding your comb, holding some clips, holding the hair, closing it again, moving our comb, opening it up, holding it again. That way you can get it down really well. So when we are holding our comb, now when we're gonna go to cut, we're gonna comb. As you can see, my hand is holding on. I'm combing, I'm holding. I always hold, make sure this is super flat. Holding your section, holding the hair, making sure the comb lays flat so it doesn't get in your way. So I always tend to hold the end out. So then I can kind of come in and I can cut. Or I can come in and I can cut, my comb isn't in the way. Now when I go to cut the hair, my hand position has changed. Now the hook is hitting the base of my finger. It's not in the crevice anymore where it was over here. Now it shifted. And now I've got my ninja grip this way. It is strong, and this is how I'm going to be cutting. Lots of this. Lots of this. Isn't this fun? Do it with me. Now, if that can move, if somebody was a tap on that and that could move, that's not good. What if that was, we drop scissors, we drop combs, we don't want to drop a razor. It could really hurt somebody. So that is my intro on how to use the straight razor. I hope you pick one up and you give it a go. It's totally amazing. It makes you like that next level. So if you already have a good foundation on how to cut hair and how to have structure in solid hair cutting with scissors, now apply that to a razor. I always recommend a class with somebody first if you don't know body positioning, because it can be a little awkward and you don't know if you're doing the right way sometimes. It's kind of the opposite of hair cutting in a lot of ways, but it's also really good to have this opposite, because when we cut, we're doing this and this hurts our body. But when we're doing this, it's the opposite motion. So it really helps for people not to get carpal tunnel and have long-term damage. It's really good to shift things around and play with your tools. I believe using this for texture is way better, way more intentional. It creates much more beautiful looks than using thinning shears. I never recommend thinning shears, blending shears for anything other than literally blending like a short men's haircut or some very fine detailing, very intentional detailing. None of this like get in there and just like cut. Like very rarely do I ever recommend something like that. So if you want to create texture, the straight razor is like your best friend.